pretty soon.
The story opens by showing a one-armed general. He is telling stories about his past on the battlefield to all the young soldiers at his headquarters. He says that, on the battlefield, there is no such thing as winning or losing. What truly exists is their struggle together with their comrades. He says he lost his arm after his friend saved him from death.
Now there's only you. And you...
After that, the soldiers receive orders for a physical test, to cross the forest within 4 hours. The rule is simple. If one person fails, the whole team must repeat it. They run through various difficult obstacles. While crossing the slippery ground, a soldier named Will slips and gets trapped in thick mud. Fortunately, Leo, his teammate, acts quickly and manages to save him. Because Will is badly injured, Leo is forced to support him along the entire journey. The two of them fall far behind, but thankfully they manage to arrive right on time. The other soldiers do not have to repeat the same march. And the general then allows the two of them to rest and have lunch while the others continue the training. This makes Kelly unhappy. However, the general firmly states that Leo has shown the true meaning of a soldier, loyalty and teamwork.
Back on your feet, you still got work to do. Down.
The training continues, starting from shooting, throwing grenades, to launching explosives.
Here's our tripwire.
When night falls, Leo and Will grow even closer. They stay in the same tent. But in the middle of his sleep, Leo is haunted by memories of the past, when his younger brother was killed by a shark while they were hunting fish in the sea.
And there's very old things out here.
With a 6-inch blade.
And the next day, they return to training together. This time, they learn how to attack the enemy silently from behind using a knife.
I said silently!
During the training, Kelly causes trouble again. He strikes Will's head until it bleeds. Seeing this, Leo does not stay silent. He immediately fights back by kicking him in the groin. A fight breaks out. They struggle with each other in the middle of the river. In the duel, Leo pretends to drown to trick Kelly. Then he comes up from behind and knocks him out cold. As an excuse to recover, Leo asks to rest at the clinic. But he really does it to meet a beautiful nurse named Hazel. There, Leo starts flirting and chatting with her.
You're a shocker. Don't move.
Her name's Hazel.
Be like trying to take...
Think it's dead, mate?
In the late afternoon, the soldiers take a break. During this session, tension flares up again. Leo and Kelly get into a heated argument. Fortunately, their friends quickly step in to stop the fight before it escalates.
Leave.
And in the evening, Leo and Will team up to prank Kelly by taking a drink from his pocket. After that, Leo and Will visit Hazel again to chat casually while sipping the drink they took from Kelly's pocket. Little did they know, that night would be the last time they meet. The next day, the soldiers are sent to sail by ship toward the battlefield in the East Sea. But suddenly, a massive attack hits their ship, tearing it apart. Leo, who survived, immediately swims to find Will. With great effort, he pulls his friend to the surface, while enemy planes continue firing at them from above. Finally, the two of them manage to reach a piece of the shipwreck floating in the middle of the sea. Leo quickly gives first aid. He presses on Will's chest until his friend regains consciousness and can breathe again. After Will wakes up, Leo searches for usable items or perhaps other survivors. He gathers some equipment like jerry cans and ropes. As Leo goes off exploring again, suddenly another figure emerges from the water. It's Thompson. Will quickly helps pull him up onto the wreckage. Meanwhile, Leo keeps swimming, searching around the ship remains. But what he finds is a horrifying sight. The sea is filled with the bodies of soldiers who died in the attack. Soon, Leo rejoins Will and Thompson. At that moment, Thompson's condition is dire. He has a severe head wound with part of his brain exposed, leaving him disoriented.
Right here, okay? Skull could be cracked though.
Right, well, I'm going for it. What?
Nah, just bits of skin, I think.
He is too staring at.
Is that his brains?
What are you?
Seeing that, Will quickly wraps Thompson's head with whatever cloth he can find. Before they can even calm down, a loud scream echoes from afar.
What's up with him?
It turns out the voice is Kelly, who is still alive. He is with Sten, Bobby, and Teddy. They survived after the raft they were on was destroyed by the Japanese attack. Leo and Will quickly pull them up to join on the wreckage. After catching their breath, they still can't believe that the large ship carrying over 200 people is now destroyed, killing almost the entire crew.
Where's the boat? Right now.
When morning comes, a thick fog blankets the sea. Their visibility is limited, only a few meters ahead.
Just take the boat.
Boat is sunk.
With what wind?
Leo then checks the items he gathered last night. They only have one rifle, 3 grenades, a can of food, a can of gasoline, a knife, and a pair of flares. Unfortunately, there's no water at all. Will, who has navigation skills, explains their position. Based on the currents, he's confident they're not far from Darwin Island. There's still a chance to be rescued by a patrol ship or a search team. However, Leo says the thick fog is a big problem. Visibility is only about 9 meters. It's almost impossible to be seen by a rescue team. Kelly tries to argue that the fog will clear quickly, but Leo disagrees because there's no wind at all. Teddy adds that such thick fog could last for up to 3 days.
Planes. Yeah, they'll send it.
At that moment, Leo spots a rescue boat with its engine still intact, but it's quite far away. As they discuss who will swim over, suddenly a huge shark appears and drags Bobby into the sea. Ah! Not long after, Bobby resurfaces, but his body is already half gone. He dies in a gruesome manner. After that horrifying incident, Leo explains that the shark attacking them is a female. She's almost 20 feet long, much larger than a typical male shark. He warns the others to stay calm and avoid making loud noises. Sharks are extremely sensitive to vibrations and the smell of blood in the water. The sun grows hotter. They all start to feel exhausted and helpless, waiting for help that never seems to come. Meanwhile, Sten, sitting wrapped in a blanket, doesn't realize that blood from his wound is dripping into the sea. Suddenly, the huge shark appears again and drags him into the water. Fortunately, Sten manages to swim back to the surface and is grabbed by his companions. But as they try to pull him in, the shark bites his leg. Seeing the situation getting more dangerous, Leo yells for Kelly to throw his grenade. The explosion goes off. The seawater churns violently. As a result, Sten is freed from the shark's grip, though he loses one of his legs. body is already half gone. He dies in a gruesome manner. That night, in the silence, a dazed Thompson spots a green light in the sea. Will, who understands better, explains that the light comes from bioluminescence, a natural glow produced by marine microorganisms. Seeing the sight, Leo suddenly gets a crazy idea. He dares to jump across floating barrels to reach the engine-powered boat that now seems within reach. At first, his companions try to stop him because the risk is too high. But Leo goes for it anyway. He ties his body with a rope and hands it to his friends before he starts jumping one by one.
Get a chump before you make it halfway.
The huge shark keeps lurking beneath the water. Every jump feels like a gamble with their lives. When the shark is about to attack him, Kelly quickly fires his gun at the creature.
Fucking shoot it!
And finally, Leo manages to reach the boat. He then ties the rope to the boat's engine so his friends can pull it toward them. But their hope is shattered. The engine is completely broken. At that very moment, they realize the huge shark has not left. It is still circling around the wreckage, waiting for its next prey.
Right? So you mean that's a bloody shark out there? What is that?
A few moments later, a violent jolt shakes them. The shark has rammed itself into their wreckage. Kelly panics and is about to throw a grenade, but Leo stops him. Their grenade supply is now down to 2. He insists they use them only in a truly critical situation. As morning arrives, everyone falls asleep from exhaustion. However, Kelly stays on watch while holding a grenade in his hand. As the day begins, he seems half-conscious and accidentally pulls the grenade's pin. The grenade rolls towards Sten, who is still asleep. Leo wakes up and immediately shouts, but it is already too late. Sten reflexively throws himself onto the grenade to protect his comrades. The explosion goes off. After the incident, Kelly strangely shows no guilt. He even tells the others to just throw away Sten's body parts. Leo's anger reaches its peak, and a fierce argument breaks out among them. Fortunately, the other comrades quickly step in to break it up. In the end, they wrap the remaining parts of Sten's body with whatever cloth they have, and release him into the sea with respect. By midday, the heat of the sun becomes unbearable. The thick fog still hanging around slightly helps shield them from direct exposure. Even so, without food or water, their condition grows weaker and they begin to wither away. Fortunately, Leo remembers he still has a can of food he kept. He intends to share it equally with everyone, but when he reaches for it, the can is already empty. It turns out the culprit is Thompson, who, in his half-conscious state, ate it all by himself. You greedy fool. Sadly, Thompson's confused condition makes him completely unaware of his mistake.
You eat all the peaches.
In a quiet and hopeless atmosphere, Kelly suddenly speaks while groaning, as if he can no longer hold back what he feels. He admits he once thought he would die from bullets or war, but he never imagined his death would come from thirst and starvation. He then begins to tell his dark past. His family was never okay. His father often abused him and his mother without mercy, until one day, his father took his own life. The incident leaves Kelly with mixed feelings. On one hand, he feels relieved to be free from the violence, but on the other, a deep guilt continues to haunt him. Since then, Kelly has grown into someone difficult to control. The atmosphere falls silent for a moment. Finally, Will breaks the silence with a strange and extreme suggestion. He tells Kelly to drink his own urine. He says that scientifically it can prolong life in an emergency. Seriously? But of course, Kelly flatly refuses such a disgusting idea. Ugh.
Yeah. Big Des Kelly.
However, unexpectedly, Leo decides to do it in front of his friends. He urinates and drinks it without hesitation.
Bennett, you're not actually going to drink your own dick spit, are you? Oh, bit of corkage, yeah, bit.
He says it does not taste as bad as imagined. It even gives a fresh sensation and a slight sweetness in the middle of their dying condition.
So refreshing.
Seeing that, their friends start following Leo's example, but just as they begin, a heavy rain suddenly pours down, soaking them all. It makes them feel both regretful and amused. After doing something disgusting to survive, now the rain comes down in full force. After the rain stops, night falls over the sea again. Leo, asleep, looks restless. He has a nightmare about his missing and dead comrades. Suddenly, he wakes up to the screams of his friends. They are trying to save Thompson, who is being dragged by the huge shark near the wreckage. Unfortunately, the rescue attempt fails, and Thompson dies on the spot. The incident hits Leo even harder. In despair, he throws himself into the sea. Sinking into the shadows of his past, as if meeting the spirit of his younger brother. Fortunately, his friends quickly pull him back up and encourage him not to give up. As their spirits begin to rise, a glimmer of hope appears. A plane flies overhead. But, unfortunately, Leo and Will notice something strange. The engine sound and flight direction are different from their Air Force planes. And their suspicion is correct. Soon, the plane brutally opens fire on them. Leo and Will immediately dive for cover, but Kelly and Teddy don't have time to evade. Bullets hit Teddy, leaving him seriously injured. Quickly, Leo and Will return to the wreckage to help him, but the plane comes back. A second attack strikes. Kelly even uses Teddy's body as a shield to save himself and jumps into the sea. Meanwhile, Will dives for cover. Leo, left on the wreckage, tries to return fire, until finally he himself is shot in the stomach. A few moments later, Kelly and Will climb back and immediately help Leo. They are both shocked and amazed. Leo manages to shoot down the enemy plane, but their joy vanishes when they realize Teddy is gone. Kelly is blamed for the incident. He defends himself, saying Teddy couldn't have survived his severe wounds. The argument escalates. Suddenly, the shark reappears and drags Kelly. Fortunately, thanks to the efforts of Will and Leo, he is rescued, though badly injured. Now, there are only 3 of them. Kelly feels guilty over Teddy's death. Leo comforts him and promises he will get them safely back home.
You're not gonna die, Des.
Not long after, a light appears in the distance. It comes from a small boat with a single person. From the shadows, it's clear the figure carries a sword, a sign he is a Japanese soldier. At that moment, Kelly suggests to Will to throw a grenade and end it all. But gentle-hearted Will instead intends to help the Japanese soldier. He discards his sword and makes a peaceful gesture, as if seeking truce. But as Leo moves forward, the enemy suddenly strikes with speed. A fight becomes inevitable. Will, inexperienced in battle, is easily defeated. Meanwhile, Leo struggles to rise with what little strength he has, but his weakened body makes him easily overpowered and thrown into the sea. And Will is mercilessly beaten again by the Japanese soldier. Fortunately, Leo climbs back up and rises to rescue him. As the situation grows more critical, Kelly, barely alive, suddenly grabs the enemy's leg while holding an explosive device. He detonates it, taking himself and the Japanese soldier with him. A massive explosion erupts. Leo and Will immediately dive to save themselves. Moments later, they manage to climb onto the Japanese boat. There, they find a bottle of drink and drink it together, a small victory amid their suffering. But Leo realizes the struggle isn't over. He remembers his younger brother, who was devoured by a shark, and with burning determination, he dives back into the sea. As the shark appears, he daringly shoves a grenade straight into its mouth. The shark explodes, but Leo's hand is bitten off in the process. Fortunately, he manages to resurface and is rescued by Will. Will immediately gives first aid to stop Leo from losing too much blood. After that, they start the engine of the Japanese boat that still works. The film ends with Leo successfully avenging the deaths of his friends. Okay guys, so that's the full storyline of the movie Beast of War. From the struggles of Leo and his friends, we learned one important thing. Life often throws completely unreasonable challenges at us. Sometimes it feels like we're in the middle of a foggy sea, alone, being chased by shark-like problems ready to strike any time. But remember, no matter how bad the situation, never give up. What keeps us going isn't just physical strength, but how strong our determination is to stay loyal to our goals and comrades in arms. Leo lost his hand, but he regained his spirit. So to all of you fighting out there, keep going and don't give in. If you enjoyed this movie breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss other exciting videos from latest movie stories. Thanks so much for watching till the end. I'll sign off now and see you in the next video. Stay strong, stay awesome.